I mean, what we've seen is just a sort of rising tempo of attacks over the last, I would say, 5 nights, including this drone swarm on Kyiv that was mostly intercepted, luckily, by air defenses. Last night, Russia actually launched about 15 cruise missiles at Kyiv, and at other missiles at cities across the country, including here in Dnipro, where we were in a restaurant last night when Iskander missile was intercepted quite close to us, and you could actually hear the explosion and the whoosh of the anti-aircraft missile over the city. And this is very much expected, both because we are coming up to Victory Day, which is today in Russia, and because we are in anticipation of this spring offensive that Ukraine is gearing up for to begin on an unknown date at the moment. So it looks to us very much like Moscow is trying to wear down Ukraine's air defenses in advance of that beginning.
Now, depressingly, of course, Catherine, this will be the second Victory Day parade that we watch while Russia is occupying parts of and trying to hold Ukraine completely, to defeat Ukraine. How different do you think the Victory Day parade will be, if at all, this year in regards to where Russia finds itself in this conflict?
I mean, firstly, it's not happening in as many places as you'd expect to see it. It's actually been cancelled in a lot of the areas adjacent to Ukraine, and that's for fear that the Ukrainians would try and sort of launch sabotage attacks, kind of drone attacks on those areas. I think everyone's quite interested to see who and what the Victory Day parade will comprise of in Moscow. It's said that they will probably have to use a lot of conscripted soldiers because those who are under contract are fighting in Ukraine. But I think that they will still be keen to show off as much military hardware as they can to prove they still have it, and to show that that Moscow will have the edge over Ukraine if this is a war of attrition, which seems to be what Putin is now hoping for.
And Catherine, do you expect us to be having the same conversation in during Victory Day next year?
I rather fear we will. I think that this is a war that will go on for some time yet, and indeed we've heard comments from the Ukrainians recently trying to manage Western expectations about what they will be able to achieve in this counteroffensive, and really warning that their allies, that they need their support for the long term, because the Russians appear to be more digging into the areas that they are occupying at the moment, as opposed to attempting to move forward. So it looks like they're in there for the long haul, and they're challenging the Ukrainians to oust them.
And finally, Catherine, you're in Dnipro. How different is it to other times that you've been there? I mean, obviously you've got Victory Day and the spring offensive approaching, but how different is it to other times you've been there?
I'm not substantially different, except for the fact that it has been hit a couple of times recently, which is quite unusual. Dnipro is a sort of strategic place to be, which is why we've been here for a few days, going out to places that are near where the offensive may take place. So Dnipro sort of links that southern front with the eastern front and what's going on in Bakhmut. Down in Zaporizhia, where I've been several times because that is one of the likely points of the offensive, there's definitely a bit more tension than there would usually be. It's been hit far more frequently, and a lot of buildings are boarded up. And there's a sort of sense of calm before the storm, almost, that people are waiting for something to happen. Where things are really getting panicky and tense is within the occupied areas themselves, where the Russians have ordered evacuations of frontline villages and around the nuclear power plant there. So we've heard that that's caused some panic amongst people who are now trying to move out of the way
Mm.
in case hostilities start.